Hello and welcome to Speed Sculpted, where we are racing for the McLaren Speedtail 2020. There are timestamp links in the description, but people like to know what the upgrades are before I really get too far into it. I'm starting with no upgrades, but I will show you where I ended up, and that is with those upgrades, so that's just one gold upgrade. And cost of that is $733,900 85 gold. Rewards for this entire event overall, $250,000 70 gold. So my total cost was just $483,900 and 15 gold. Now, I will warn you, some races are very difficult with these upgrades. And it might have been possible with a little bit of a different gold upgrade. I did look at a few different options, but drivetrain seemed pretty good as far as bang for the buck, and so that's what I went with. Now, the main problem, well, bots do end up being a problem later on. This first race, I don't even want to go through this whole thing. It's just going to take so long. Just take it really easy. Don't finish any higher than you have to, etc., etc. More on that later. So we've warped ahead to the end of the race. As you can see, I put myself back into 5th place because it said finish in at least 5th place, so then you finish only in 5th place. And this one is try to maintain a certain average speed. Doesn't say anything about position. So, yeah. Oh, that's weird. Man, he took that corner horribly. I think I'm going to hit average speed very quickly. Again, we're going to skip a lot of this race. Absolutely no challenge, and it's just going to be really boring. In fact, let's just skip to the end of this right now. So I'm in 4th place, and that's a little bit high. I don't need to be in 4th place. And you can't just stop because you will run out of average speed. So I just decided, okay, well, I'll just go the wrong way a little bit, keep my average speed going. I'm not going to do this for very long, but you could do this if you want to finish deeper in the field. And I think that's as deep as the field gets. So, oh, I actually lost my average speed. Well, that's funny. You don't want to do all this only to do a really mind-numbingly boring race again. So, hopefully I get average speed. Just made it. Oh, that's almost ridiculous. I don't want to waste your time with a bunch of boring stuff. And finish in the top 10. Really? I thought it was different than that. Anyway, this car, the handling, yeah, leaves a little bit to be desired. It's really loose. I was not expecting him to hammer on the brakes like that, so that threw me off. You know what? We're going to skip the rest of this race too. There's just nothing to this. So I'm currently in 10th place, and I'm already quite bored. I'm messing around with this P1 a little bit and kind of getting up next to him, and watch. I was not in front of him, but watch what happens. They decided I got 9th place. That's weird. Daytona's always been weird. Reason why you don't see Daytona in online multiplayer is because the hitbox is kind of messed up. It's like the car placement is messed up. You can be reasonably high on the track in certain sections, and it'll suddenly tell you that you're off track, and you'll get a penalty. And I remember back when we had the different head developer with Fire Monkeys, he tried and tried, the whole team tried. They could not seem to fix it. Oh, that's embarrassing. Oh well, doesn't really matter. They tried to fix it and they couldn't fix it. And I showed them how the hitbox is really weird when you get to the speedway section. It's like a good foot out of the car than what it should be, but they just couldn't fix it. So that's kind of weird. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's weird that I was not in the lead, yet it had me in the lead. Anyways, we're going 4 times regular speed. As soon as the car is about to be eliminated behind me, I'm going to turn around and go the wrong way because I want to create more distance between myself and the 2nd place car. Now, the guy hasn't finished disappearing yet. If I hit him, it would have still done a lot of damage. And we're going to just end stage 1 right away. I'm just showing you some silliness, but it's not necessarily silly. I want to finish really far away from 2nd place, so it doesn't look like I did a super incredible job. This is a bit of bot maintenance, bot management, and all that stuff. And so that's going to wrap up stage 1. Let's get going to stage 2. Overtake 5 opponents. Okay. And what? Anyway. This car is not enjoyable at Red Bull. Oh gosh, will I ever tell you that. Its brakes are just not very good, and it's fast, and it has bad grip. So it's got a surprising top speed, But a car like that, like the Valkyrie, oof, later that Valkyrie can become quite a menace. I love the Valkyrie. It's one of my favorite cars for sure. But it becomes a problem later on because this car does not have much to grip. I'd say Valkyrie, I don't know. Often people ask me what's my favorite car. It kind of depends. Like, it'll kind of morph here and there. But I could probably give you, let's see, a good top 10. So like McLaren MP4X, definitely in the top 10. Yes, I utterly blew that corner. Braking points are all messed up for me. So McLaren MP4X is definitely there. Porsche 919 Hybrid Evo, definitely there. Volkswagen IDR, definitely there. Aston Martin Valkyrie. I also like the Valhalla quite a lot. But at one point I would have said Ferrari FXXK, but that's really not on my list anymore. I don't find it to be that great of a car once you get to driving a whole bunch of others. Same with, Bugatti Bolide, yes, that's got to be in my top list, just because it is so stinking fast. Once you get it fully upgraded, it actually does feel pretty good. Like, you're on the brakes forever, but I mean, the car does well over 500. So I've done 544. I haven't seen anyone beat that speed so far. That's, as far as I know, that's the highest speed anyone has ever hit in this game, legitimately. And I did a video about that. I had a slipstream to pull that off. The highest you can hit without slipstreaming is 542, but it's actually extremely difficult to slipstream and hit that high of a speed because the AI is on the brakes so early. So it's kind of interesting in that car. I definitely have an affinity for the McLaren P1 GTR, even though the race that I used to love so much, you haven't been able to do it since update 6.3. OGs remember it, but I'm talking about the endless endurance race you used to be able to do at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Speedway course in that car. It was so crazy. Like, yeah. So that's, but otherwise, it's another one of those cars that I got other cars and I went, oh, like, it's really good, but there are some that are quite a lot better. Like, even the Valhalla, the Aston Martin Valhalla, that's pretty insane. The Rimac Nevada is a stinking fast car acceleration-wise and overall amazing handling car. This one's interesting. I actually thought, with no upgrades at all, I wasn't having a lot of time left over doing this, completing each lap in 1:15. Now this won't make sense, but I'll explain this in a sec. We're going to go 8 times regular speed once I get up here. I just wanted to have a reasonable run, so now we're going 8 times regular speed, and then we're going to pull out of this. So the whole purpose of that is that my timer hadn't started yet. See that? So as soon as I cross the start-finish line, my timer starts. So the game wasn't going to give me control until it was doing really bad after the last corner. This gives me a nice run at that last corner, which means I'm crossing the start-finish line doing a reasonable rate of speed to start my timed lap. And so there we go there. That was the reasoning there. I'm getting on the brakes quite early. Like, I don't know, probably about as far back as I ever brake in this game because of just, brakes just feel horrible. Also at Red Bull, there's a few places where you're braking downhill. I just went through one of those. This one's also feels like it's a downhill braking zone. So then it feels like it's taking a lot longer than it actually is. And even the next 2 corners, I think they're also downhill. Am I right? This one feels downhill. Like, it's not here, but as you get into the corner, it definitely is. And then last corner also feels like a downhill corner. But then we've got 2 uphill corners, which kind of evens that out a little bit. So corner 1 is an uphill corner. By the way, and then corner 2. As soon as I cross the start-finish line, I'm in first place. It's actually based doing a fastest lap, even though they didn't tell us anything about that. So this is actually set the fastest lap, it seems. I don't know why it gave me first place after only 1 lap. I'm not first place. It's kind of annoying that it did that, but as we get to, well, yeah, actually it is annoying, because if this was just finish each lap in 1:15, I could have sat in my little safety zone there for like 5 minutes if I wanted to. I've done that before, just sat there and waited for everyone to go past me. Met the requirement, but finished in like 8th place or whatever you wanted. Oh well, we'll just leave that alone. This race will be over soon enough, and then we can get on with the more regular stuff. But as you can see there, I was like 111, 112, something like that. And so that's not as early as you would think when you're this early in an event. So we'll just I noticed in the first stage there, they were already using multiple tracks. Like it used to be in the old days, you'd have kind of like one track per stage. But that's not how this was working. We already saw Kota and Daytona. And then it's been jumping around some more already. Case in point, we've jumped over to Hockenheimring, so that's interesting. I kind of like it. I like the variety. It can be a challenge if you're adjusting to a new car, but you'll notice I'm not going to make near as many mistakes. Well, there's still going to be some. But what happens is you start making mental notes and you go, oh, okay, I got to drive it like such and such a car. Like I wasn't expecting that. So then here I might brake a little bit earlier than I would normally brake and just get a feel for how does it handle it. Okay, it did okay. And then here we're getting into this really tight hairpin. This is a horrible corner. I'll probably get on the brakes quite early, maybe even too early, and we'll just see how that goes. So I got on the brake quite earlier than I normally would in most cars, and that ended up being a little bit early. And then I was on the gas a little bit, kind of discombobulated gas-wise. But same with here, I'm not quite sure when I should be on the brakes, so I'm getting on the brakes very early, and at least I don't go off track that way. Yep. I figured I might as well get up there further up because I've got to meet all my requirements. So I'll start by getting more to the front here and get my slipstreaming done off of this Yahoo in a, I don't know, I think that's a Chiron Sport. Could be wrong. But I'll just get all my slipstreaming in and smash the Chiron. Sorry, but that's just what's going to happen if you're going to hit the brakes that much. I have probably just smashed the snot out of you. Not that I want to, per se. Trying to watch this guy. I'm not trying to cause a lot of trouble. I don't necessarily want a whole bunch of damage. And there we go. I'm done that part. Now I can get on to the final requirement. And it gets really boring after this. So we're just going to warp to the end of this lap because there's just nothing to see. And obviously I'm kind of letting the second place guy catch up a little bit here. Not a huge amount, but I'm just going to reel them in. That's how you keep the targets reasonable. Don't finish with a big lead if they're forcing you to. So there you go. Yeah, this one's interesting. I actually did this my first try. Basically 12, 10, 8. That's all you really need to remember. You need to be in 12th at the end of this lap, and then 10th, and then 8. And that's not difficult. I actually waited a little bit even on the start line because I just thought, what's the point? It's 3 positions. If you can't make 3 positions really quickly, then yeah. The trick is I don't want to have a lot of damage. I actually didn't realize it was the short version until I was just nearing this corner. And I went, oh, well, maybe I better hurry up and get myself in position here. I just don't want to get too tangled up. So I'm just kind of playing it safe here, looking for my opportunity to get him some overtakes. Oop, well, tangle. Looking to do the outside. I mean, there's some crazy cars in this. Like that's a Venom F5 to my left. I'm sure of that. And I think that's the Stradale XX SF90 in front of me. Just kind of feel like it is. I didn't really bother checking much at the end of the races to see what's what. But it's okay. Now I could be setting up an overtake down the start-finish straight. Or you can just wait, but you can see there it's very easy to getting into 10th place. That's not going to be difficult. Oh, well, the Lamborghini lost it, so then the Ferrari was easy to get. Now I want to get really close to LOL, whatever that's supposed to mean. Well, I know what it means, but it's just kind of funny. Get really close there so that my next phase is easy. Okay, well that's a La Ferrari, obviously. Now, a lot of people don't, well, maybe a lot of people don't know this, that the FXXK is actually built off of the LaFerrari. It's basically like the track version. So like the XX means track version. So the XXSF90 is the first XX that is street legal, to my knowledge. Other cars are like, it's pretty strange actually, like the FXXK. You can own it, but you really can't have it. It's like they deliver it to your personal track or wherever you're renting it space on a track, and they'll let you drive it on a track even though it's your car. It's Ferrari, so I guess it's a huge status symbol to have one of those crazy cars. I personally wouldn't want a car that I can't just drive, but then again, I guess if you've spent oops, that was unintentional. I guess if you spent an insane amount of money on a car, you don't want to risk some numbskull crashing into you or hitting you in a parking lot. I mean, as is, I park at the back of parking lots because I hate getting door dings. Someone gave me a nasty door ding in my Audi and I was not happy. Couldn't find the person, so that's kind of annoying. I'm so respectful and careful, so it's just frustrating when someone does something so careless. I mean, there's times that the wind catches your door and I get that, but that wasn't the case. Here we are, stage 3, and we're at Nürburgring, which again, not a great track for this car. Just because car feels so loose. Oh well. We'll get her done. Fuel requirement, I really don't think it's going to matter in this race, this early on in an event. I don't see them getting too crazy with the requirements. I mean, I am worried looking at some of these cars. I'm worried about how difficult this could get. With having like a Valkyrie back in 10th place, are you kidding me? Like the 10th place bot doesn't know how to drive it. A 10th place bot will generally overbrake quite a lot, really overbrake actually, and then ride the brakes the whole corner. Like it's like they just keep tapping the brakes. It's insane sometimes to be behind them. Downright annoying. Kind of lost it there a little bit. 270 for units of fuel. I mean, I wish they used consistent units. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. So I don't know if that's a lot or hardly anything. So I better be careful and save where I can save. And I don't need to finish much higher than this. I don't think. If I'm wrong, I'll do it differently by the time I get to the end. Because I don't necessarily remember what I was doing. Get around that guy. What position do I... Oh, well, we'll just see when I get there. We'll get there when we get there. Like, even that car, that's a Koenigsegg. I think... Oh, no, that's a Jesko. I don't think that's the Absolute. No, because the Absolute doesn't have the big spoiler. Interesting that we're sitting in the middle in this McLaren. That's almost bizarre. So, yeah, seeing cars like that made me worried. Oh, this is a Pagani. Utopia. And, like, these are expensive cars and very exclusive cars. Very fast cars. Another Koenigsegg. Like, so I'm looking at this thinking, man, this could get really scary later on in the event if we've got some crazy stages. If these bots get ramped up too much, it will be borderline impossible. Yes, I do horse around going across the start-finish line a lot of the time. I can dump some time. Now, this one, you can't pass until corner 1. Then you need to have at least a 200-yard lead. Was it yards or meters? Oh, whatever. 200 units, I guess. I'm going to say it was meters. And so, at first I was going to try to shove these guys a little bit, but they don't really want to be shoved. Not really. Not really. And you definitely need to wait till they're at least rounding the corner. So right about here, I could go for it. And that's a little tag there. That's kind of sucks. So what's strange is that I made a mistake. The first time I did this, I made the mistake of not having enough of a lead, and it was too late for me by the time I noticed it. And the bot was very fast in first place, which was odd to me. Then the second time I was doing it, the bots were all very slow. Like the first bot was slow, and I don't know if he got damaged or if the bot was just in a different car. Sometimes that happens. And then this time, I ended up having a first place car that's actually pretty fast again. Like he starts taking off. And it's kind of hard to maximize this corner And that Bugatti was right kind of in the way of what I was trying to pull off. But let's see what that is. Sliding around a bit too, as you can see. Okay, so I might just do a little bit of a funny overtake here with Mike. Might not do a fully proper overtake. Let's just see here if I was on the brakes early enough. Maybe. Oh yeah, that's a proper overtake. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a yes go. Yeesh. I did a little grind across his front end. Oh, I almost clipped that barrier. I've done that. I hate clipping that barrier. Not a very safe track. Like a barrier like that, that makes it definitely lower on the list for safety standards. Like there's safety standards, and that determines the types of cars that can race there. So Formula One cars can only race on tracks that are grade 1, which is the highest level of safety. So tracks that have like big guardrail things like that, or cement walls right close to where you're racing, that's not okay. That won't work for Formula One. That's why Formula One cannot run at like Laguna Seca, because by memory I'm going to say Laguna Seca is grade 3. So quite a lot of series can't run. Well, not quite a lot, but Formula One definitely cannot run there. Or was it grade 2? Because I looked at Mount Panorama as well, and that one with the whole mountain section, you've got, you know, concrete walls and things like that, and so that one might have been grade 3. Oh well. Yeah, I think that one was grade 3. Oh my, still losing it here and there. Regardless, you can't have Formula One in a official race at either track. Yes, there was recently I can't remember how recent this was, but a Formula One versus supercar race at Mount Panorama. It seemed pretty staged to me. Like it just didn't feel real. And that makes sense, because Formula One aren't allowed to race there. So they're not going to have him racing at its maximum level, because that would just be dangerous. Like if anything goes wrong, he's probably going to be dead, because the track's not meant for that. It's too dangerous. Too dangerous for Formula One. For supercars, they're slower. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're really fast, but they're much slower than a Formula One car, like substantially slower, substantially less acceleration, and the braking ability is shockingly bad in supercars. Like, shockingly bad. You really don't know how bad it is. I guess I should clarify that. If you haven't driven them before, you don't really know how bad it is. It's the worst brakes in the game. So some people miss driving them. They're interesting cars because just the kind of way things are set up, you don't necessarily use, well, you definitely use the brakes, but it's just different. I did a video where I was driving one of those in Melbourne, or as my friends in Melbourne would say, Melbourne. But that's anyway. So yeah, supercars are interesting. They're just strong as all get out. Like that's why if they were going toe to toe with a Formula One car, I mean, supercars are flying off the ground. They take a serious beating. So Formula One car would just leave it in the dust. But if the Formula One car started getting thrown around by the track, they're not going to handle that as much. Supercars are tough. This race, we're going to do much more of the full races. This gets surprisingly horrible because the grip on this thing, this grip degradation is shocking. This car starts to feel so soupy, so fast. Like, I'm surprised that I'm overtaking a Koenigsegg here. That's interesting. Now, I definitely hit him on purpose. I was hoping he'd hit the brakes more. You've got to brake extra early for Parabolica because you don't want him to get under you. And he'll eventually try to go for the outside. I'm trying to keep him behind me. Yeah. I was having trouble with this. There was a few races I was definitely having trouble with. And I'm still at no upgrades, as you can see there. And this is crazy. Doing this at this speed? Yeah, that's a little bit crazy. But I was having trouble. Now that's going to really hurt my tire ability. But I just got tired of, just kind of felt like I was fighting this stage a lot, and I was having trouble with no upgrades, of course. So I decided to get a little bit crazy with it, doing a little bit of cuts, which means I have to get on the brakes a lot earlier. But this car just feels like just horrible. It feels like I'm driving on soap or driving on ice. just all over the place. I'm just not expecting that at 57%. Like, really? I don't understand this. It seems even that is really weird. Because we've got races in the Formula One Series Invitationals where you start with no tires or your tires are degrading the whole race. And it never feels all that bad. But with this thing, ugh, it feels like garbage. Like 50% in this car feels like absolute garbage. So I don't know. I don't know how they've set that. I find that odd, but that's okay. I guess I can find it odd if I want to. On the brakes much earlier for Parabolica this time around, of course, because it's just so slippery, just shockingly loose. I'm going to throw this thing into a really long slide. Just watch, like this. Like, I should have done it sooner. I think you could slide this thing for like a couple of kilometers. All right, well, let's see here. Last race here. Without going off track for more than 3 seconds. So, again, I was having trouble. I'm trying to find all sorts of different ways to keep my speed up without finishing really far in the lead. And I just spent too much time trying to do something so silly. So I tried to run backwards, like run the wrong way for a while and stuff. And I just went, you know what? Whatever. I'm just going to throw away this race. Finish with a ridiculous lead, perhaps. Maybe give it back at the end of the lap if I've got time to spare. So that first big cut really bought me quite a lot. I didn't have to worry about it very much after that, as you can see here. But you know, it'll fall quite a bit. I'm having to be careful. You know, but I got a Bugatti. It's funny when you can't slipstream off of a Bugatti. So that does tell you that this Speedtail is set up to be pretty fast as far as, you know, good acceleration, good top speed. But then the other metrics are just not very good. At any rate, you'll see her here at a Parabolica. I won't have to get on the brakes near as early. Won't be as squirrely. But you know what? We're going to skip the last lap here because there's just nothing to see. So 257, and look at that. I'm down to 249. So I really did lose a lot of average speed. Still just trying to drive it reasonably well. But that's more than enough. So I'm giving a little bit back here. Just being careful. I don't want to lose it. I wanted to reel in second place as much as I could. I mean, you don't have to win, so I would have rather not been in the lead, but that's okay. Wraps up that. Okay, on to stage 4. Let's get into some trouble. This gets trouble. So remember, I didn't do this ahead of time. So you get the advantage of knowing how many upgrades I needed before you even start. I wanted to see what some of the cars at the back of the field, because it says to lap 3 of them. Well, there's some good cars at the back of the field, so I'm kind of worried. Anyway, we're not doing the whole race. 3 laps here is just going to be lap 3 opponents. That means most of this race is going to be nothing to see. So, except me, you know, trying to figure out Spa. And, yeah, I mean, this car at Spa, at least there's some longer speed runs. But Spa's an interesting track where you've got long speed runs, but then you've got very technical sections, which are going to be very difficult with a car as loose as this. But look at those speeds. So anyways, getting back to what I was saying about upgrades, you have the advantage of knowing what I needed before you even start. I don't have that advantage because I'm starting this without looking at what anyone else has done. I very rarely go check out other people's videos when I'm doing an event. I like to find my own way through it. It's part of the fun for me and some of the challenge. So I really don't go watching other people's videos, and I might look at something here and there afterwards, not during. So it's just part of what I like to do, part of the enjoyment of it for me. So I just didn't know, is this possible with no upgrades? Is this possible, is it cheaper to skip than it is to buy an upgrade and finish the event? And this time around, definitely not. Although some of the stages coming up, some of the races, not whole stages, but some of the races coming up are quite brutal with really low upgrades. So here, you've seen me run this. You kind of see how I'm running a lap at Spa. So then we're going to skip a lap. So I'll let you see the whole lap, and then when we get just after corner 1, I'll warp ahead. I'll skip an entire lap, simply because is a lot to do. I'm doing that because I actually found this wasn't easy, and I wasn't quite sure how hard or easy it was going to be. So I thought, well, I'll skip a bit. I totally blew the breaking point there, which is a little bit embarrassing. 8, yeah. So here we've warped ahead a lap, and I haven't passed anybody yet. Haven't seen anybody. It's just been a lonely, lonely race. I do not have a massive lead like this. A little over 7 kilometers, and you're lapping someone, and so obviously I do not have that much of a lead. I mean, I got a big lead. It's like 1.5 kilometers, but not 7 kilometers. But I mean, I know I don't have to lap everybody. Cutting the Lacombe corner, definitely got to be more careful. We have Bruxelles and Pouan. Bruxelles right there. Ooh, that's kind of sucky. So I'm making mistakes still, which is kind of sucky. It's a little bit better. And then as we're getting into Pouan corner, really don't want to go off track at Pouan because it's so far, the walls are so far away. I mean, that's good for safety. It's just dangerous because, well, it's not dangerous. It's hard to recover from a big mistake. So in some of these corners, if a wall's really close, you can bounce off the wall and you're back on track. And a lot of the times you don't even really get damaged. Sometimes. Okay, 2 more to go. 1 more is in front of me. Good, so that's done. So hopefully I see 1 more right away, or at the last chicane. If it's at the last chicane, I'm just going to completely blast through that. Yeah, I can't really see anybody. Well, we're going to shoot the chicane and hope that there's someone there. There we go, just on our left there was a car. I can't say for sure, but I just want to venture that was a Venom. I'm just going to guess that it was a Venom. Don't know for sure. Don't really care. Moving on. So I added all $R upgrades. I tried doing it without it for a while, but if you didn't have to finish in 5th place, that would be more possible. So if you didn't have to finish in any specific place, or if you only had to hit speed once. I've had that before. We had that happen here, where we had to hit a certain speed, and I did the reverse camel run. If you don't know what that is, I'll tell you when we get there. That's where you can go over the posted top speed of most cars. Not all cars, most cars. Bugatti Bolide? No, it's not long enough for the Bugatti Bolide to even reach its top speed. So, no. You need a big runway for that car. So watch this. This is interesting. So I'm going to actually hit speed going up Kemmel, which is very unusual. So you want to brake a little bit early here for Eau Rouge, because you want to be blasting Radillon, which is right here, and you need to be keeping it pinned quite a way uphill. So there's that Valkyrie. I definitely hit him on purpose. I wanted him on the brakes because oftentimes I failed this race multiple times because cars hit me in the rear end. They hit me, damaged me, and then failed me. Now that Lamborghini is also fast, but not really. The Valkyrie is now driving like someone knows how to drive a car. Like it's like Magnus is behind the wheel of that thing. Not Norm, that's for sure. Norm don't know how to drive nothing. But there we go. The Valkyrie and the Lamborghini are getting tangled up. Okay, often the Valkyrie already took the Lamborghini, and he ends up being all over me. But there we go. Blasting through all this stuff. So there's only 2 places you can hit speed, so you have to hit speed every time in those 2 places. The first place, so coming out of here, you want to take this correctly, and then I do either a very slight lift or a very quick tap on the brakes. That's about it. And then you've got to get ready. Kind of watching my vehicle here, but I'm preparing for the corner, and I'm a little bit late on the brakes. Just a little bit late because I need to see it hit that speed target. So I'm braking a bit later than I want to, but that's what I have to do to hit my speed target. Same with going up Kemmel. You can end up braking a little bit later than you want to because you need enough runway to hit speed, which is why you want to get on the brakes early. Oh, I didn't point out the reverse Kemmel. Well, I'll do it this time because there's not much more to talk about for this race. So all I mean is driving the wrong way down Kemmel. It's the longest downhill run in the game. Definitely longer than Mount Panorama. So this section, this whole section here is Kemmel going up here. That's Kemmel. Super long. So when there's cars that you can go way above their posted top speed by going down Kemmel. And then you end up usually having a tragic crash at the bottom. And that's just what happens. Some cars, like the Porsche 919 Hybrid Evo, you could start way back here doing the reverse Kemmel run and still take Eau Rouge full throttle. It's insane. It's a lot of fun too. A handful of cars can pull that off. And a handful of cars can take Eau Rouge. Quite a big handful nowadays can take Eau Rouge flat out. Okay, so you can see that there's not a lot of room for error in this particular race because I've got to hit speed 5 times and I've only got 5 sections of the track to do them at because of how they do the race, because they start us right about here. So you've really got to hit every single one. And yeah, you can see that Valkyrie's all over me. He ends up being quite a big menace. And I really start to throw off my braking points, and I'm all worried about him here. End up getting a pushing partner though, which is kind of nice. So then I should hit speed a little bit easier here, although then this guy's getting nicely in my way, which is really starting to worry me. But I hit my speed a little bit early and then threw it off because he was in my race line. Anyhow, and Mr. Valkyrie passes me, and I thought, you know what? Whatever. I've got 3 seconds of off track I could take, and oh my goodness! I used 2.9 of them? Huh. Well, that's kind of interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit sketchy. So like I said, it does get difficult. I don't think this is difficult. This is almost more annoying than it is difficult. Tailgating someone for a minute is a long time. Especially if they're going to be riding the brakes, like I think this guy does. Let's just see if I'm right in my recollections of things. Again, this car, like taking Stowe, that's the last corner there that I just took. It's not the last corner, but it's the one I went through. Vale chicane here. This is the last. So he's driving in formation, but after the start-finish line, he shouldn't be. So we'll see. He's going to come over right away. He's after going over that. But he still just sits there riding the brakes like a doofus. I mean, you're a 6th place car. You shouldn't be riding the brakes that much. It's kind of annoying. It's not only kind of annoying, it's extremely, exceptionally, indubitably annoying. But the time is slowly climbing. Remember that, I've smashed out his rear window. Tailgating and slipstreaming aren't the same thing. You don't have to slipstream them. You just have to have your front bumper behind his front bumper. You can actually be right beside him if you want to be, and still getting your tailgating, which you will see. I'm going to get sick and tired of him. I want to overtake him as soon as possible. But right now, tailgating's counting. Same with right now. Watch, it's still counting. I'm not slipstreaming. You can see because it didn't turn yellow. Now it's yellow. And I'm getting ready to overtake this Yahoo. He's going to hit the brakes because I'm in the race line. And there we go. Now, I still have to get up into 3rd place, which might be quite difficult. Huh. Looking at the time, it looks very... Oh, there was an outlap. I was looking at the time thinking, what's going on? How am I that slow? But that's because of the outlap, so it doesn't reset. I was just double checking, like, what do I have to do here? So now I just have to finish in 3rd place. So I do have to hustle. And, I mean, you could take cuts if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter today. So we'll just see how this all works out. I wasn't quite sure how hard it was going to be, so that's why you see me taking some cuts. Because I'm just not so sure about how difficult this will be. Because again, I haven't done it. I didn't finish this yet. So, gotta be just feeling all that out. I decided, you know what, this is going to be a long race. Let's just take some cuts, make sure I get this done. Okay, well there's 3rd right there. So I probably don't have to do any more cutting to make it. But I decided lawnmower mode might be a good idea. Well, maybe it's not a great idea, but whatever. But then that gives me a pretty big lead. Easy though. Yes. You might be saying, didn't you say that you weren't going to do a lot of things like this unless it was necessary? I did, but I guess I'm going back on that a little bit. I'm not doing certain things I used to do. Like I used to smash everybody. So I'm not doing that as much. And yeah, I would say the off-track cuts are not necessary in this race because I end up having a pretty huge lead. And I'm going to have to give some of that back. Because I don't want to finish with a huge lead. That could make things unnecessarily difficult later on. So I'm just going to take it a little bit easier here. Well, okay, quite a bit easy. Come on, where'd you go there? Gosh, I had a much bigger lead than I thought I did. There he is. Kind of surprised how slow some of these guys are. It's like one guy will be fast, next guy will be slow. I don't really know. Come on, where'd you go, buddy? There he is. Oh, I better hurry. Thought he was going to just smash me. But nope, we're okay. Okay, so this, you've got to be going. I don't like to say maintain. So they should just say, reach a target speed of blankety blank every single time you cross the start finish line. Like, maintain just sounds like I could be at that speed. And maybe you would. Maybe you'd pass if you were at that speed. But I'd rather see them say, have a minimum speed. The word maintain is usually for average speed. You know what? I should mention this to them. Okay, so I will. I'll mention this to them that it's a little bit strange wording. So there is well over 283 with these upgrades. Now I do have to make sure I get up into second place as well, and you certainly don't want to be damaged because damage is going to make you go slower. And you definitely need everything this car has to offer to hit that speed at the start-finish line coming out of the fail chicane. You need everything this car's got, so just take it easy. It's not hard to catch the traffic on this one, I found. Oof, really, that's kind of sloppy. Ooh, I thought I was going to get tagged there. Really not hard to catch the traffic, but you've got to be setting up that speed run every single time. Definitely be ready for that, including the very last lap. Make sure that you're really focused for that very last lap. We had a race like this in the Valkyrie at Hockenheimring, and I remember it was really difficult, and you had to have a minimum speed every time you cross the start-finish line. And the very last lap, I laid back because I thought, okay, I've already done it, and then it failed me, and I went, oh, you got to be kidding. And then it was really hard for me to hit it again. So don't do that. So here I'm going to really set this up. I'm going to brake early just so I can get a nice run. And take it a little bit wide, but with this car you can't go super wide. You really need the track. So you got to be careful with that. You want to kind of treat it like it's one big corner as far as how you take the race line. You got to think about it that way and have your arch appropriately there. There's off track that I could really be using here, but I don't really need it. So I'll try to keep it clean. Okay. I said it wasn't too hard, but now I'm having... Oh, there we go. There we go. Now I'm closing up on that Porsche pretty fast. Yeah, I mean, that Porsche's got definitely better grip and brakes. But, you know, the Speedtail makes up for it on the longer runs. The acceleration and the top speed, he should let me have it. Thank you so much, Mr. Porsche. Like some of my... Don't have Porsche in a Porsche. Okay, it's not Porsche. Borscht. Oh, I miss having really good borscht. Anyway. Some of you will know what that is, others won't, but I had a grandmother that made very good borscht. She made a couple of different types, and I miss it sometimes. So she's gone. So there we go. I don't have my borscht anymore. Could use some. Okay, so again, don't forget, last lap, last time here. Got to set this up. You got to be really going for it. So you can see I'm taking my trajectory kind of strange so I can really set up a nice speed run. See what we see here. Oh yeah, 285, maybe even 286 by the time I cross the line. There you go. That'll wrap up this stage. Let's get on to the most difficult, stage 5. And again, they're mixing it up. You're having, like, you know, we're at multiple tracks. I don't want to be at Suzuka in this car. Like, I really, really, really don't want to be at Suzuka in this car. But okay, you're going to make me do it. I might have to get a little bit creative with it. We'll just see. Suzuka in this car is like, no, it's just not fun. Suzuka's fun in a car that's got high grip. Then you can really ride through, like riding through the S's and various different sections. Spoon corner here. Oh, I don't like it. It's just another one of those parabolic shaped corners. It's also has altitude changes. Like you're going up into the braking zone and then down coming out, and that just adds to the complications of that corner. So obviously I greatly lost average speed, really fell off. There are cuts you can take here. You'll definitely see that later on, but we'll just see how far I can get here without doing anything like that. There we go. I'd say that's a yes go from looking this far back. Pretty sure I'm pretty correct. Didn't mean to get all into him there, but a little bit isn't going to matter. Average speed is not doing well. Come on, average speed. Why aren't you doing well? It's like I'm not... Oh, spoon corner. Yucky. I guess someone dropped a bit of their milkshake there. Not that you have milkshake with a spoon very often. There are some that are so thick that you would need a spoon instead of a straw. Okay, well, here we go. Let's just maybe get a little bit crazy with it. What do you think, guys? Yeah, let's do that. Didn't hit that wall very good. A little bit worried about my my ability to hit average speed because I'm not hitting average speed. Now I'm hitting average speed. But I was quite a bit below there. Oh, nutsies. Very bad corner to make a mistake at because you end up going off track there and the wall's very far away. So you could be off track for quite a while when you go off track a little bit there. You definitely have to be aware of that. Really avoid it there. And then here, if you end up going off track, there's lots of room in the sand if you need to. Like there, I'm going up there, I'm cutting this, because I'm just not so sure. Did not do a good job there. You definitely need to be more careful than that. But, oh, that's not good. Oh, that's really not good. I really got to make some gains here. Looks like I'll have to do that again. Drive in, take the last chicane there a little bit illegally as far as proper racing is concerned. A little surprised there wasn't more off track so far. Like there was a lot of grace with the off track, you know, like 3 seconds of off track, that's a lot. Even when they say no off track in the more modern events, they really mean no more than a second. But I decided I really don't want to do this race again, so we'll just finish it. And we'll slipstream behind the Utopia. That one's in the bag. Let's keep this parade going. All sorts of stuff. Secure 3rd place without any damage. And they really do mean that. You've got to be careful. For instance, I was taking that lovely chicane cut you've already seen me take. I tried taking it twice in one race, in this race. And the second time I hit the wall, it failed me. So obviously that was a damaging hit. If you hit the wall a bit rough, it's a damaging hit. Like that's sketchy. Shooting between a Valkyrie and the wall. Oh, check this out. Watch how quickly this guy's just suddenly on me. Like, look at that. It's definitely an Avaya. I'm aggressively blocking him. I want him pushing. The Avaya gets right up near its top speed very quickly and then just stays there. It's an interesting car. It's almost like it's a car that has a much higher top speed, but that it's running a limiter. Because it's very unique in its acceleration. But it does not beat the Navara. The Navara definitely has better acceleration than the Avaya. Yeah, that was interesting. And keep it on there, yep. A little bit sketchy here and there, but for the most part, keeping it on track. And this is just, he's right in the perfectly wrong spot. Okay. Whoa! You don't expect that, hey? Just dead cars. There's no warning. And they're in the same spot every single time. But there was nothing in the description, I don't recall anyway, about there being dead cars on the track. Maybe I missed it. I don't read all the screens. I'm usually trying to get this done as fast as possible so I can get working on the video. So I just don't do that. But anyway. And I decided I'm just going to do a little bit less of an aggressive cut here. Felt like I was doing okay on time and the requirement there. So I wasn't as worried about this. Definitely get on the brakes quite early here. Like you don't want to blow corner one at Suzuka. Like there we go, that's pushing it. That's over pushing it. And still got to climb up here a bit. So you definitely have to stay aggressive. And this car is just so slippery. Funny for a McLaren. I shouldn't say that though. There's quite a few McLarens that are slippery, like the 600 LT, and there's a few like that. But the 720S Coupe has just got a crazy amount of grip. Come on, you Koenigsegg, let me go. Thank you. Another Koenigsegg? Yep, another Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg's everywhere. Now, let's see if those cars are in the same spots. I'm not sure if they're almost like a wall. Like sometimes the bots are crashing into them, which is hilarious. Oh, he's definitely moved. Okay, so they're not fixed to the track. They can be moved if you hit them hard enough. Well, there's third place. Way up there. I mean, it's not too far away, but it's a bit. I'm gonna go play some catch up. Yep, and I do like this track. Now, you know what's funny is right here where I am right there, you might notice if you pay really careful attention, you might notice that you're sometimes getting slipstream when there's no one around you. That's because this game does not understand when there's a car above or below you. So if you're driving over a car, it's driving over you, you will catch slipstream even though you're not slipstreaming. It's really funny. Okay, let's see here. I think we're going to Mount Panorama now. Yes. And I could not do this without more upgrades. Now, it's maybe, I have seen some people, they went body instead of drivetrain. No matter what, you're going to have to get creative with it. It's not easy. You need a slipstreaming partner, and you need to do some wall braking is what I found. I couldn't do it any other way. I didn't watch anyone else's videos yet. I was on Facebook and saw a couple of friends had posted, one friend in particular had posted that they did it with 113 1111. So that's definitely going to be body vert instead of drivetrain. Usually engine and drivetrain are the most expensive, but sometimes they also give you more bang for your buck. Sometimes you get a little bit more out of those. So that's what I did. I didn't go with engine because actually drivetrain gave you a little bit more with a little bit less cost. So there's one place to hit speed here. And of course, it's multiple targets, multiple things we have to do to pass. So my first slipstreaming partner is up ahead. I'm already pretty close to him, so I can just relax and take it easy now, because I need to be setting up the downhill corner, the exit there. I don't want to catch this car too early, nor too late. I don't mind a little bit late, but I need to catch him while he's still on the gas, not when he's on the brakes. So I'm going to get close, but not that close, as you'll see. Oop, I'm trying to scrub a bit of speed there. Now you could brake properly, or you could do a wall ride if you want. I'll do both. This time with the proper braking point. And I start gaining on that Pagani pretty quick. So I would rather be catching him now. This is a little bit deep, but I'm okay with this because I'm saying it's too deep because he's getting on the brakes right about now. And look at me. There you go. Hit speed, hit this wall, dig in nicely, perfect. No off track. Perfect. Nicely set up. Now, the next guy, he's a ways up there. And so that's a problem. And he's a higher grip car, which means it's going to be hard for us to catch him because we're slippery. So we've just had two nice, here's another nice speed run. I'll definitely get some gains here. Then it's all technical, and that's a problem. So I start getting creative. And some people won't be able to do this. You can't do this with assists. So if you're asking me, you can't do this with assists on. None of them at all. It just won't work. Doing a wall ride like this, I actually dug in a little bit, but it's still faster than taking the corner normally in this particular car. And then I really got to be pushing this. So I definitely am on the brakes a tiny bit here, on the brakes a tiny bit here, and I really need to make some gains on this guy fast. Finally, I'm shutting the gap. That's not bad. So I'm probably gonna wall ride it because I'm a little bit far back. Yeah, let's wall ride it. I want to catch him reasonably early. This might be too early. This is a bit too early. Don't get too close to his front end, and he won't hit the brakes. But look at that. Still, he ended up being so much slower than me. So he's really good at the technical. So now I'm gonna have to drive it in deep. There, finally. And I'm all off track. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, great. And now I'm not in the position I need. Okay, I can't remember if it said no damage. I'm gonna do very careful bump pass. It's very delicate. Oh, looks like it didn't matter if I was damaged. Oh my goodness, look at that car. That is a trashed car. Oh, and it's magically all brand new again. So that was, I'd say that was the hardest race right there. Really hard to hit that speed. That's it. The rest of this, there's no rules. Didn't say anything about no off track, so I'll just take all the cuts and we'll just see. Whoop, being very careful with that Bugatti. So I'm taking all the cuts, and we'll see how necessary that is. Taking pit road, a little bit careful there. You got to be aware, like some of the cars, like there's definitely an Avaya or two in this mix. You can hear them. This looks like it's the, I think that might be a Stradale. And like you can see, yeah, I think that's the XX SF90. I'm pretty sure that is. I'm even going to do the wall riding here. So I'm on the brakes a little bit to throw it sideways, because if you don't, if you clip the wall with your front end, you're most likely going to crack your windshield, and then you're going to go slower. Hennessy Venom F5. Oh, that wasn't great, but it was okay. That's got to be a Valkyrie. Yeah. Try to get around him on the outside. That's, oh, but I mean, he's got better grip than me. Oh man, I'm all over the place. You know what? I'm not gonna call this car the Speedtail. I'm gonna call this car the Whale Tail, because it feels like a whale. This car, the way it handles with this huge back end. I mean, whale tails are pretty big. I'm calling it Whale Tail, not Speedtail. Sorry guys. Sorry McLaren if you don't like it. Too bad for you. It's a Whale Tail. Okay, so 8th place, and gotta win it. And then keep that average speed up. So I'm definitely gonna take a huge cut here and get into the 390s. Not have, oh, I did get sideswiped a little bit there, but I'm surviving it. Again, I'm taking pit road. And believe it or not, pit road's not off track, but then you have to go off track to get onto the next lap. And then braking reasonably early for corner 1. Same with corner 2. I'm braking quite early for corner 2. It is a downhill braking zone, so that does mess things up a little bit. And I mean, average speed is okay, but I just don't, you know, it's a ways. I'm a ways back here. Okay, that is amazing. Over passing two guys doing that. I didn't think that was going to work. I thought I was going to get tangled up with a lower car, which kind of looked like a LaFerrari just on a quick glance, but I couldn't quite tell. And again here, this one's a very short braking point, light tap. Early tap here will really help, because you can then drive by someone, or unless you make a mistake like that, then you can't. If you're going in too deep, you can scrub some speed there by going off track a little bit. Of course, that's only if you're driving it in too deep. Let's go another wall ride. That wasn't really all that great. I'm pretty sure I'll overtake this Porsche though with my big top speed on this car. Yeah. I mean, obviously the average speed's really not a problem, but I'm taking all sorts of cuts. But positions are a problem. I mean, I'm in second. I'm all over the place there. Kicking up dust in front of me. That's kind of cool. I mean, there's first place though. So I'd say position-wise, you don't necessarily have to cut. We'll just see how quickly I actually get the lead though. I kind of think this Bugatti's over-braking. Like, that felt like he was over-braking. He's got more grip than me. I mean, that's either a Chiron or a Chiron Sport. Both are definitely going to have more grip than I've got in my little Whale Tail. But no, I'll take this one properly. Maybe I'll slide the next one. Just see how that goes. I guess worst case scenario, I could get an overtake at the bottom. So let's just see how much I can gain here. This will be interesting. Uphill race. Huh? That's pretty impressive. So you can see how braking early can really set up a speed run nicely. I just kind of gave him a dump pass. I just dumped him in the corner. Here's where you can scrub some speed, and I actually did scrub a little bit, not much. So when you're off track, your brakes are at their worst, but sorry, let me change that. 4 tires off track is actually the best braking power in the game. 2 tires off track is the worst braking power in the game. So the reason why you see people going 2 tires off track so much, like in time trials sometimes, is trajectory, it's race line. Certainly is not helping your braking, it's making it worse. Okay, so there you go. You can see I'm finishing the event using those upgrades. Drifty, 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 and I thought I was going to get a donut in. Nope, did not get a donut in. But there we go. Please like, please subscribe. I'll give you a quick shot of the upgrades. You can see, just like I said, there's my final rewards. Here's some of the videos you might find interesting. I just pulled off a world's first in the 919 Hybrid Evo. No one else has done it. Now other people are doing it, so that's pretty cool. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you guys out there on the track.